Attorney General Latitia James is now responding to former President Trump's $175 million bond payment. CB Cotton has more from our New York City newsroom on that for us. So, CB, what is the Attorney General asking regarding the former president's bond underwriter?
Latitia James respond after Donald Trump bond rejected. When you go down on this article, New York Attorney General Latitia James has issued a response after former President Donald Trump $175 million bond was rejected in a new legal filing.
Attorney General Latitia James is now responding to former President Trump's $175 million bond payment. CB Cotton has more from our New York City newsroom on that for us. So, CB, what is the Attorney General asking regarding the former president's bond underwriter?
Well, Sandra, former President Donald Trump staved off the risk of seized assets and drained bank accounts while he appeals the civil fraud judgment against him. He posted the $175 million bond on Monday, again, in order to appeal that civil fraud judgment. But we are told a key component was missing because the company who issued the bond is not licensed to do so in New York. Now, New York Attorney General Latitia James, citing New York law, has filed a notice with the court requesting the insurance company, Knight's Specialty Insurance, provide proof that the bond is financially sound. The company's chairman, Don Hankey, reportedly a billionaire, told Fox Business earlier this week he supported the former president and even donated to his campaign. But he said the decision to underwrite the bond for Trump was ultimately about growing his company.
We wanted an opportunity to expand our business, and we feel that cause just justifies it. We saw he was having trouble getting the bond, so we reached out and said we were happy to participate, and they quickly came back, and we put a deal together in a few days. It's a big bond for us to underwrite, but Donald Trump came up with all cash, so at the end, it was an easy decision and with almost no risk.
Okay, so Sandra, according to the court filing, Trump's team has 10 days to respond. An appeals court, as we all know, did reduce the bond he'd have to post in the civil fraud judgment from the $454 million. Trump's attorneys have argued that that amount, posting that amount, was a, quote, practical impossibility. Sandra, we've also reached out to the insurance company for their response.
Yes, there is still another video where the mainstream media is melting down. When you take a look at this article, in a new legal filing, James take exception to the sufficiency of the surety to the undertaking given by defendant and the bond issue by Knight's Specialty Insurance Company without a certificate of qualification pursuant to insurance law. James want to know if Knight can pay the $175 million bond. That is why this lady is so angry. She thought Trump would not be able to bring forth the bond. When he came forward, she is not stopping there. MNBC did a segment about it. It is important we take an exclusive look into this. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. It will do you no harm if you share out this video.
Question about whether they're really covering it in a sufficient way. Is that it?
Let's go back for a second. So this morning, Knight Specialty Insurance Company filed a corrected version of the bond that attached, among other things, its financial statements and showed what its assets were as of the end of last year. That's December 31st, 2023. It has over $537 million in assets. And what the Attorney General's office is saying, the cash it has on hand is less than the bond. And they need to know, because specifically this company is not admitted under New York's Department of Financial Service. It's not a New York insurer. And because it doesn't have qualifications in New York State, they are entitled to ask for what's called justification of the surety. That means, among other things, Chris, that they want to know, how is this collateralized? What are the specific identifiable assets that Donald Trump posted to ensure that if they went on appeal, they will get back this $175 million and up to the value of the judgment that Judge Engoron had ordered, which at this point stands over $454 million if that judgment's upheld.
Wasn't that similar to the problem Donald Trump himself faced? Because he clearly has a lot of assets. The question of are they liquid assets? How quickly, for example, if he needed to, could he sell something? And would it be worth what would be needed to cover the
he
bond?
had other problems too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those assets were encumbered and he couldn't pledge them because there was already somebody essentially in line. If you owe a $125 million mortgage, for example, to an existing lender, then you can't exactly give that over to the Attorney General first when you've got somebody in line with what's called a perfected security interest. So that is a similar problem. Trump had even greater problems on his own, which is why he went to Knight Specialty Insurance Company as his suretor here. But here you see the Attorney General's office saying what you filed this morning is still not enough to satisfy us that you have posted a bond that is sufficient to cover our judgment if and when we win on appeal.
So now what happens?
They have 10 days to file what's called a justification of the surety, and then there will be in addition to the motion practice, a hearing at which the suretor can come forward. And they have copied, for example, on this motion, Amit Shah, who's the president of Knight Specialty Insurance Company, signed the bond. He is copied here because he is basically the person on whom this is being served. You will show up. You will file these documents to explain to us how this is collateralized. This is bringing Don Henke and his company a whole lot more into this mess than I fear that they anticipated.
Okay.
Yes, few days ago, Trump posted this. I've just posted a $175 million bond with the sadly failing and very troubled state of New York based on a corrupt judge and attorney general who used a statute that was never used for this before, where no jury was allowed. My financial statements were consecutive and had a 100% perfect caution and non-reliance clause. There were no victims except me. There was no crime or damage. There was only success and happy banks, Trump wrote in a post on Tuesday on Truth Social. On Monday, KIC posted bond to none of Trump asset or bank account could be seized. KIC is owned by the privately held Henke Group. Don Henke, chair of the company, had both organizations. Documents as part of the $175 million bond were rejected by the court for not including a current financial statement. On Wednesday, a message on the New York State Supreme Court electronic filing system showed Trump bond undertaking had been returned for corrections. Engoron has appointed retired Judge Barbara to monitor Trump parent company, the Trump Organization, to ensure that it does not engage in fraud. The bond has also led to questions about what potential collateral Trump offered the insurance company in exchange for posting the $175 million. Okay, you can see what is going on here. These people will not stop. They will continue to go after Trump even as he posted this. They now look for loopholes. You do not do this. There were no financial statement. Things like that. You can see how desperate they can be. Taking down Trump was the goal. Like seizing his property was their aim. Since they never succeeded, they will still not stop. You can see the corruption here. It is high time people see it clearly. Sometimes when I look at this Attorney General, she should be disbarred, like I've been seeing on social media. James office has filed a notice of exception to the surety that require either Trump or his legal team or the surety to demonstrate by motion that the surety is financially capable of performing under the bond. If you seek a bond from a company not admitted in New York, as Trump did with Knight, you cannot get a certificate of qualification from DFS. They said, so by law, you have to demonstrate to the court why the surety you obtain is capable of paying under the bond if the judgment creditor file a notice of exception to the surety, as we did here. So that is what is going on.
But most people just can't commit.
But more importantly,